And eating them. So now, subhanAllah, when he says, no, you're not going to kill the camels, you're not going to eat the camels, they listened. They obeyed. Sami'na wa ta'ana. So it's not just about having excellent qualified leadership, but you got to have excellent and qualified followers too. It's a two-way street. It don't do no good to have good leadership if the people are not willing to follow. How do we know? Look at Musa alayhi salam and Banu Israel. Constant drama, constant questioning, constant challenging, constant disobedience. We hear and we disobey. So they won't even follow the leadership. Just constant drama. Musa alayhi salam goes ahead a little bit. Next thing you know, Allah Ta'ala says, like, where's everybody at? He says, Ya Allah, I came to hurry to make you happy, right? And he says, well, let me tell you what happened with Banu Israel while you're gone. What? Next thing you know, he comes back and they've already, like, in that short period of time, these people done like erected a golden calf, an idol and everything. That's the disobedience. But no, not with the Sahaba. And who's the leader? It's not the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's one from amongst themselves. Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu. So he says, no, you're not going to kill the camels. But then he gives them another order. He tells them, give me all your dates. Whatever you guys have left, let's pull them all together. And they listened. So imagine, like, mashallah, you have 5 dates. And Imran has 5 dates. I have no dates. Imran's like, well, I got 5 dates. Like, that's food for, like, me. Maybe my friend. He's like, no. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. So everybody gave up whatever they had, and it was rationed out. It says, subhanallah, we were allowed 1 date a day. When they get back to Medina and they're narrating the story, the listeners would ask, like, how did you survive off of 1 date a day? 1 date? Think about that when we do our iftar this evening. Okay? Like when you have that 1 date, just think about it. Just take a moment and pause. This is Sahaba. This is our history. This is our heritage. These are our predecessors. They're the ones that blazed the trail for us. When you got that date in your hand, and you're like, yeah, like think about them. 1 date for the whole day. And do it again in Suhoor. 1 date for the whole day. Those were gone. They're now eating the leaves of trees. And they said that we were happy for that 1 date. You're asking, how did we do it? You imagine you get 1 date a day. You can't wait till what? The next day to get your 1 date, because you know that's all there is. And they went through this hardship and this difficulty for what? In the path of Allah. No other reason. No other reason. It wasn't for business. It wasn't for I'm going to get this, and I'm going to be increasing my status, and I'm going to, like, mashallah, I'm going to get this position or this job, or like I'm going to get this title, I'm going to get this degree. No. Just strictly for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of their akhirah, moving in obedience to the amr of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their leader. And then they follow their appointed leader. They were about to crack. And that's what Allah ta'ala does sometimes. Mata nasrullah, right? When the help of Allah is going to come. So sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now as we're moving in this deen, Allah is going to take us to the edge so that we can see what we're made of. And then now in front of the malaika and the rest of creation, Allah Ta'ala is showing like, these are my ibad. Look at them. They do this for me. This is the proof. This is the evidence of their sincerity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they said they got to the sea and they found ambar, big fish. We would call it a whale. On the shore of the sea. They said we all ate. How many of them? 300 of them. There's 300 of them. They said we all ate to our fill. He said we ate, all 300 of us. We ate off of the flesh from that ambar for 18 days consecutively. 300 times 18. And they're eating. All the way up to Medina it lasted. Imagine that. Like they come back to meeting like this is the fish. Like we were eating this. This is what we're eating. This is from a big fish. Allah Ta'ala put it. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tells them and says, yes, that was from Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. He put that fish on the shore just for you. That is our Allah. So as we're fasting during this month of Ramadan, remember, this is not haraj that Allah Ta'ala wants for us. This is not some like extreme difficulty, and then we're not going through any extreme. We're not wondering like where our meals are going to come from. There are Muslims in the world today that is the case. That they don't know where their iftar, they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. Maybe some that they are in that situation where they are maybe just surviving off of that one day. Or like Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said, and they asked her, like, what did you eat in the home of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? She said the 2 dates. Excuse me, the 2 blacks, afwan. The 2 blacks, dates and water. That's in the home of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So think about this evening and the rest of this remaining of Ramadan, right? Especially as we're moving now towards the last 10 days and nights of Ramadan, this last third of Ramadan. Think about this. Like when you're holding that date in your hand, think about the Umbar expedition. Think about leadership and what it takes to be a true follower of leadership in Islam. Think about like making sacrifices in for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like this is what was necessary for them. This is how they blazed the trail. Are you and I blazing the trail for the generations to come after us? Or are we casually strolling along it? Wandering here and there off of it sometimes and sometimes on it, sometimes thinking about it, sometimes not thinking about it. What if we were put in a situation where we were required to do half of what they did? Not the full thing, just half. How many of us would survive? Because of the rahmah of Allah, we're only required to do what? 10%. That's it. That's it. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned specifically, there's going to come a time, this is my brothers, there's going to come a time, and these people, they're going to believe in me even though they've never seen me, and they will do 10% of what you did. He's talking to the Sahaba. You're going to do 10%, 1/10 of what you did, and Allah Ta'ala is going to reward them the way He rewards you. That's us. Inshallah. That's why we fast in the obedience of Allah. That's why we make the effort to walk in the footsteps of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We're supposed to carry this mantle with honor, with dignity, with our shoulders back and our heads high, standing for this kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's Ramadan. It's not about being weak and complaining and then indulging in the food. It's about becoming real Muslims, real mu'mineen, filled with nur, filled with love for Allah and His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, filled with love for the ummah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. May Allah Ta'ala make us like this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring our lives in accordance with what pleases Him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for anything and everything, all things that we have done, past, present, and future, which brings about His displeasure, His anger, fid dunya wa fil akhirah. آمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا جزاء. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.